as always, by Leo Roth, and the Buffalo Bills are in the playoffs, Leo. I mean, we have not had an opportunity to say that because the last time they made the playoffs, it was on the last possible second of the 2017 season, and we didn't get a chance to say that ahead of time. So here they are in the postseason.
I don't think people realize what in the parity-rich NFL to clinch a playoff spot with 2 games still to go.
Yeah.
It's quite a feet, and the Bills deserve a lot of credit for that. Now, of course, the way the schedule is and everything else, I know we've harped a lot on that, but when this month began or when November was ending, we talked about this. Here's the chance for the Bills to show their legitimacy as a playoff team, and they've done that. They went into Dallas and won, and they went into Pittsburgh and won.
Yeah.
And what more can you ask? Well, I guess they can go into New England and win.
They can go into New England and win. I'm going to write about this in my game preview that the Dallas win was great on a big stage like that. Then they turn around and do it again on Sunday Night Football. And really, I would call that Steelers win, Leo. That's one of the best wins they've had in the 20 years that this drought, this almost playoff drought that they've been through. I mean, you think about it, playoffs were on the line. You knew they had this trip to New England looming. To go into that environment, and I don't care who was playing quarterback for the Steelers, that was a great win for the Bills. So that's awesome. But I'm writing this week, Leo, that the Patriots game, even though they're already in the playoffs, this is, to me, a huge game for the Bills. Go in there and finally show your arch enemy that you can beat them. Because to me, it's not complete until you've beaten the Patriots. Go into the playoffs with a win under that team under your belt. I think their confidence, they've already got a lot of confidence right now based on winning 10 of 14. But to go in there and beat that team, that would be a huge step for this team. I really believe that.
Yeah. I mean, in the last 20 years, we've probably talked about these watershed moments, numerous times, actually. There's been some moments in Bills under all the coaches they've had, the 7 coaches, the 8 coaches before Sean McDermott. And we kind of said, well, here's the time now. Here's the time to show how good they are. And, of course, they always go in there and get beat, and New England's great. And they can, New England can win their 11th consecutive division title. Never happened in the NFL. They're going. It's an amazing feat. I was talking to Wade Phillips yesterday, in fact, for some other thing we're working on the 20th anniversary of Music City Miracle. I just was shooting the breeze with Wade, and he was just going, they're about to win the 11th consecutive title. And he was,
yeah, we know.
And he just oh yeah, New England, Brady, amazing. He just had these one, and he had been through it and all kind of, back in his day, in the late 90s at least, I mean, they were having some great battles with them. That was before the Brady.
Yeah, but he didn't see Brady, though.
He didn't see Brady. He never saw Brady. That was Bledsoe, those Bledsoe battles, so. But anyway, we not to get off track, but yeah, I'm with you, Sal. I mean, this is a big game, and I'll even put it on this one. It's an even big game for the Bills, even bigger game for Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He's and I tried to play with this yesterday, and I said, hey, he owes these guys. He got knocked out in that first game.
You're playing that angle way more than it needs to.
I know that. I'm not saying he's because I know they're not focused on that.
They're not, especially when the guy called and apologized the very night.
I know. I know that, but I'm just saying
typical media guy stirring it up where it's not there.
Well, this was a game that, and Josh will always go back to this. He went back to it again yesterday. That this was a game that it's not about the hit. It's about this. These guys intercepted him 3 times,
right?
And they made him look awful, and they accelerated the critics on Josh Allen. He owes them for those reasons, not for the hit.
I'll give you that. And he also said this actually a few weeks ago, if I recall, on a Wednesday. Somebody asked him about turning points,
and that was it.
And he said the New England game he felt was the game that really made him realize he needs to be better. He needs to do things differently. He needs to stop trying to make the great play on every play, protect the ball. And really, since then, I mean, he did have the pick the next week against the Titans, but then after that, he's been really good protecting the ball at least. And I think he has grown as far as understanding situations, making the right decision, not playing hero ball, which was a term we used a lot last year and certainly the first quarter of this year. So the New England game really served a big purpose for him, even though he got knocked out and couldn't finish it. So you're right. It would be a great step for him to go in there and beat the Patriots. But I just think from a team perspective, Leo, they have lorded over this division and certainly over the Bills for far too long. It's reached absurd levels now. 34-5, Belichick's record with the Patriots against the Bills. Brady's 31-3, I think,
right?
or whatever. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. Go in there, and again, the Bills are already in the playoffs. They're not going to win the division, folks. I mean, there's no way, I don't see any way, Miami comes up to Foxborough in Week 17 and beats the Patriots. So that's what has to happen. Plus the Bills would have to beat the Jets, of course. I don't see that happening. Even though they're already in the playoffs and they probably can't win the division, beat this team.
All right, let me throw this at you.
Beat, period, this, period, team, period.
When if they do beat New England, and they can.
They can.
It's the last game of the year, the division's on the line. They got to beat the Jets. New England's got to beat Miami. There is no resting starters for the for the playoffs. If they lose to New England, then they get to rest starters.
I agree, but I don't really care about that. I really, if they can beat the Patriots and they have to play all their starters in Week 17, I'm all for that. I think Bills fans would sign up for it. You would still have a chance. Now, I would also scoreboard watch, and if I see the Patriots up 30-0 on Miami in the second quarter, I might be yanking guys out at that point. But I think every Bills fan in the world hopes they go beat the Patriots, and they do have to play their starters in Week 16 because it might, or Week 17, because maybe there's a miracle out there like the Andy Dalton Tyler. We've seen a miracle in Buffalo before. Maybe it can happen. Then you're looking at first place and a first-round bye.
It's amazing.
It's worth playing for. So.
Well, so there's lots of scenarios that will emerge after the outcome of this game.
Right,
and they do want to beat these. They want to beat these guys for lots of reasons, and we've.
And I'm not holding out. I'm not holding out hope that they're going to win the division. I'm just pointing out that it is a possibility. You raised the issue about sitting guys out. If they win this week, they can't do that. They have to keep playing. And quite frankly, I think McDermott would prefer that.
I think so too. I don't think he's the guy. They've never been in this position, but during the Super Bowl years, and we're dusting off our brains about what it was like, and that was always the issue with Marv Levy's teams. Are you going to rest guys? Who are you resting, Marvin? I mean, those teams were so good that these were the problems they had. Gee, I got to rest. Who am I going to rest?
I know.
That's how good those teams were.
Leo, I remember very clearly watching Gail Gilbert play the last game of 1990 down in Washington. He was their third string guy. Frank Reich finished 91 against the Lions. I'm pretty sure it was Frank Reich playing in that game. I think he was healthy. So, we've seen this before, not in a long time.
Now, 1999, they were so good that they rested Doug Flutie for the last game.
Right.
Rob Johnson looked okay in a scrub game, and then he gets to start the playoff game. And
well, you just relived this with Wade, so it's fresh in your mind.
It's fresh on my mind. I don't know why. I've forgotten about that. You're the big history guy.
I know, and I remember it very clearly. What we're talking about, the Nashville paper is doing a 20-year anniversary story about the Music City Miracle.
Sure, because they won.
Yeah, exactly. A little happier event for them. So we're not doing it, but they are. But they asked for our help to get some Bills perspective. Leo got a hold of Wade. I got a hold of Steve Christie. And I talked to John Murphy, the Bills play-by-play guy, who was the analyst then for Van. So we've got some things we're going to ship down to them. And it should be a fun package. But it was funny. Our boss, Steve Bradley, told me that the Bills, the Bills alumni guy, wasn't real helpful we had a kid freelancer that we had try to get quotes from some of the Bills, and he couldn't get a hell of any of them. They gave him no help. I would guess that if they had won the game, the Bills would have been more than happy to get as many guys as we asked for, and that didn't happen. But anyways, look for that. I'm sure we're going to have links to that on our website. So I'm sure they're going to do a great job, and it might not be a great memory for anybody to look back on, but it still was one of the most historic games in history, and the Bills were a part of it. All right, back to today. What do you make of Tom Brady? He's been. I'm not going to say bad. He's never bad, but he is nowhere near what we've been used to seeing with Tom Brady. I even joked a few minutes ago on the radio. I said, we've been waiting for Brady to leave for 10 years. Now I think I want him to stay. The way he's playing now, you almost want him to stay another year because he just hasn't been good.
Well, let me say this. He is still Tom Brady, and I think the problem's there. Some of it's on Tom, and he is really slowed down, his ability to move and stuff. But he can still sidestep in the pocket. He can. He had a couple weeks ago. It was last week. He ran. He had a big scramble. Yeah. The problems there have been an injured Julian Edelman, shipping out. Josh Gordon's gone. Antonio Brown's gone. Gronk is gone, and Mohamed Sanu, he's not on the same page with yet, and N'Keal Harry, their young rookie, not on the same page with yet. So a lot of it's contributed to that, and the line isn't as good. So
no, there's no weapons.
But Brady's getting the bulk of the criticism, and he always got the bulk of the praise too. So it's he's getting the other side of it now. Hey, listen, I expect the same kind of game we saw in Pittsburgh. It's going to be a
the same game we saw in Buffalo with both of these teams.
It's going to be a defensive slugfest. Yeah, Week 4 game, the same thing. Defensive slugfest, and what offense can make a couple plays? Because, it's going to be good enough to win again. 17-10.
Yep.
16-10 was the last score.
It's
going to be the exact same thing.
You're going to be betting the under again in this game because there's not going to be a lot of points scored, I don't think.
No, because their defense is legit. Their offense might be suspect, but certainly their defense is for real.
We said last week, I thought at least, the best defense they were playing so far was the Steelers defense because they were so, the turnovers, the sacks, the big play type of things. Look at the rankings, though. The Patriots have been number one since the very start of the season, and they still are by a wide margin. They're only giving up 13 points a game.
Yeah, it's
They're
amazing.
number one in yards still. They don't get the same sacks and takeaways that the Steelers do. But, again, this is 3 weeks in a row, Leo. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, New England. Bills' offense has really got a huge test in front of it. It's going to be tough to do anything. Now they're on the road. They only scored 10 points at home against the Patriots. So it is going to be a huge challenge for Buffalo's offense. We mentioned Josh Allen. This would be a great place for him to take that other step. Last week against the Steelers, Leo, let's face it, he threw for 139 yards. He wasn't exactly lighting it up. He made the one great drive in the fourth quarter, which, and I wrote about this in my column after the game, you don't like the numbers on Josh Allen. The metrics are still terrible, but this kid's got some moxie. He finds a way, and you can't give him all the credit because he's had some help, mainly from the defense, but this kid has found a way to come back and win games, and I would not put anything past him against the Patriots.
Well, he's got Jim Kelly, like intangibles. He's got this ability to, at the end the numbers might look that great, but they'll probably win the game, and that's what you want in a player, in a quarterback. And I just, that first Patriots game, he had him driving to maybe win that game, and he got knocked out.
Right.
With hindsight, the Bills and a lot of media, including me, have had a chance to look at that hit, and it's fine. It was a bang play.
It was.
It was still dirty enough to get a penalty, not necessary roughness.
He didn't get fined though.
So
the NFL reviewed it and he didn't get fined.
Yeah,
so that tells you.
So the Bills accepted that. Yesterday they said we accept it. Yeah. They've looked at it again too. Sean McDermott was livid. Yesterday was those things happen.
Well, it's hindsight. You get to see it again.
Yeah.
You rewatch the play and he realized
that was an angles that we didn't have that.
Yeah, that wasn't.
In the immediacy of that game, and nobody did. So anyway, that's here and there. But the other thing, Sal, we mentioned is Devin Singletary is going to play this game. He didn't play that first game,
right?
And now he's emerged as a real weapon in this Bills offense. And as we saw he was a real X factor in the Steelers game. Just aside from the fumbles, he's going to have to work on this.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what, they lose that game if John Brown doesn't fall on his fumble.
Oh, very close. It was 10-10 at the time. Right?
Yeah, I mean it was tough. That was a hell of a play.
And here's the other thing too. He needs to stop fumbling because we have to stop watching Frank Gore. I mean, because he fumbles. McDermott basically benched him for at least one series there, and we got this handful of Frank Gore who just cannot play anymore. He's just not.
I feel bad for Frank.
He's just at the end of the line.
He's been he was a great addition to this team. He's a great locker room guy, but we're seeing the end.
Yeah,
and
this is the end.
I don't see him in any way really trying to help. We talked about it last week. It's time for Yeldon to get in and give the Bills a little different look, but I just don't see it. I don't see it happening. They're going to ride this through. I think they believe deep down inside they just cannot. They can't make that move.
Yeah,
I think it would hurt the locker room more than it'll help on the field.
They can't make him inactive, but you would think there's somebody on that special teams unit that they could sit out and slide Yeldon in, like Sonoris Perry. Now, I mean, Sonoris Perry, I remember he made a real good tackle last week on a kickoff, I think it was. So, I mean, I understand why he's active. He's the running back. That Yeldon's the running back. Perry's better on special teams. But TJ Yeldon, Perry can't help you on offense. TJ Yeldon could at least play a dual role, I think, and get involved in the passing game, but it's just not happening. It looks like he's
so rusty at this point. So
well, yeah, I know.
What are you going to do?
He hasn't played since, I would guess, week 5 or 6, maybe.
Of course, we said that about Tyler Kroft, too, when he caught the winning touchdown pass.
Not true. All right, a couple comments here I want to get to. Jamel Moore has been firing a couple things. We've actually answered a few of these, but he asked, how do you feel about Buffalo's chances to win the division? Patriots will lose out. We talked about that. I don't think that'll happen. I don't. That doesn't mean I don't think the Bills can win this game or Saturday, and I think they could beat the Jets if they're playing all their players, but I just can't. I can't in any way, shape, or form believe the Dolphins can come up and beat the Patriots in Week 17. And Jamel even points out Ryan Fitzpatrick will bless us in Week 17.
It's a great story that could be.
I mean, that would be great if
a
he
great
could help the
story
Bills
can
that
be
way.
written. There's no question about it.
It's for sure.
People will be sending Fitz Christmas cards and fruitcakes and everything else. But it's not, I just, if people are asking, what are the odds are not really good. But, it would be a great story.
Yeah.
And it'll be fun on that last game, Sal, in that fourth quarter, and everyone's looking at the scoreboards. It's going to be interesting.
It would be if they.
But they got to win. They got to win this Sunday.
They got to win Saturday. It's
Saturday.
A moot point. Chris Rizzo wants to know what's the latest on Edelman's injury. If he's out, I like the Bills' chances of winning. I don't think he'll be out.
He's not out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that he's going to be out, but he has been. He has been hampered the last couple of weeks. He's got 92 catches, but their offense has sputtered really for a while now, and part of that has been because he is the only weapon and he's playing hurt. So I would guess he's going to play because he's Julian Edelman. He's not going to miss this game, but maybe he's going to be compromised a little bit, Leo.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a break the Bills are catching there. And then Rock 585, it's a code here. I'm not sure what it means, but he wants to know, first of all, he says what we're saying. We need to stop running Frank Gore. It's a horrible sight. It is. It's a really horrible sight at this point. He says, I know Duke and Yeldon are not superstars, but we need to make use of them somehow. Duke Williams, get off the Duke Williams train, people. I'm so tired of dealing with this question.
But I know, but I know where the fans are coming from.
Every year, there's one guy that seems to captivate Bills Nation. Duke Williams was the guy this year. He's not playing for a reason because they know he's not good enough to play. He's not hurt. He's been a healthy scratch. He doesn't play special teams. They get more out of McKenzie. Andre Roberts obviously is a special teamer. And they're trying to get Robert Foster back on the page.
Let's throw the ball to Andre Roberts. Let's do something, maybe.
I don't even need throwing the ball to Andre Roberts. I don't understand why they have not thrown the ball more to Robert Foster. It's amazing where he has fallen. It seems like they have zero confidence in him. He doesn't get many snaps on offense. He's active, and he has been playing special teams fairly well. I don't know why they've stopped trusting him, even after the second half of the season he had last year.
He's made some catches for them, and
it's perplexing.
You got to provide the opportunities for players to show themselves, and I would say he's made the plays when he's been presented to him. Not all the time, but he hasn't had that many. And I look back at that the Ravens game and Josh's first read to John Brown on of course he saw a wide open Beasley he didn't hit, but there had to be a better option than that, and one of them was a taller receiver in the for that route for that ball and put it up higher because they made it just too easy for
they did
for Marcus Peters.
John Brown. I mean, he did catch a 50-50 ball last week. The 40-yard pass, it was a little bit underthrown, maybe on purpose, and that was a contested catch. But John Brown doesn't really make a whole lot of contested catches. You watch him through the year, most of his receptions he has beaten his guy. He's not getting great separation, but he's done enough to beat his guy, catches the ball, typically goes right down. There's been very little yards after catch with John Brown. A lot of that's on Josh Allen, not throwing him open. But John Brown, on that play to Baltimore, you're talking about that one, I mean, that could happen again this week too, because this secondary, believe me, this is a lockdown secondary they're playing.
Oh, yeah.
With Gilmore, the McCourty brothers,
gosh.
Chung, Jackson, the kid Jones, the kid who knocked it. I just reeled off 5 off the top of my head that are all outstanding players. John Brown's going to have to work hard this week to make those plays.
If New England scores 10 points, it might be enough.
I know. It's sad. It's sad
really
but true. Now we said
now
the same
Bills
thing.
can score 10 points.
We
now
said the same thing.
We
said the same thing last week with Pittsburgh, and they scored 17. That was more than I thought. I thought they were going to get 10. So they were able to do it last week. They also took advantage of short fields in that game, which the Bills defense doing that this week would certainly help.
And they took advantage of a really young, not so good quarterback throwing balls up that you just don't throw up. They were.
I'll tell you,
those picks were it was picking fruit.
I get that he's been a fun story down there, and let's face it, they're 8-6 despite having played Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges, which is amazing. But I don't know about you, but I was never worried about Duck Hodges last week.
He made a couple throws.
But the whole thing last week
and
was...
the play of that game, too, going back, they fumbled right before the half
right.
And inside the Bills' 5-yard or 10-yard line. So that's huge.
Yeah, I know.
On a wildcat,
I was never worried about
fumble.
Their offense wasn't an issue at all. It was going to be the Steelers defense, and the Bills were able to do it. Same thing this week. I'm not really, it's crazy to say, I'm not overly concerned about Brady and New England's offense because you look at the track record this year, they just haven't been very good. They're winning on defense. It's a very similar situation this week. If the Patriots are gonna win the game, they're gonna shut down the Bills and score just enough to eke out a win. I don't see this thing getting into the 20s at all. I mean, I'd be very surprised if either team got to the 20s. So again, same game as last week for the Bills. You need to be efficient on offense, not turn it over. Hopefully your defense helps you with field position, and you do just enough. And it's the same recipe for the Patriots. They're looking to do the exact same thing. So it's really a clash of two teams that are heading down the same path, both offensively
Yeah, it's
and
a ball
defensively.
security game. The Bills won the turnover battle in Pittsburgh, and they won the game. Simple, really simple as
I mean,
that.
it really was as simple as that. So going into Gillette Stadium, Leo, the House of Horrors, without a question. They've played, it's 17
2
games
and 25 or no?
No, they're 2 and 15.
2 and 15
But
there?
the two wins came, one was
Brady
against
was-
Jacoby Brissett. The other was that Brady sit at halftime.
A half.
So they have not officially beaten Tom Brady in a game that matters since that place opened in 2002. That's some bad history to be going up against, which is why I'm picking the Patriots to win. I just don't think the Bills are going to be able to do it, even with Brady in the offense in the state they're in. What are you seeing? I mean, are you going to go happy here and go Bills? Or?
I'm going to go happy.
All right.
I'm picking the Bills. I'm picking Josh Allen.
And I'm hoping you're right.
They're going to do enough. They're going to do enough.
You think so?
And they're going to win the game. Yeah.
It would be awesome. I mean, it would be. Everyone knows.
I just think the Bills are. I think they're kind of thriving on this these primetime games, these national stages right now. It's kind of flowing into something. And we haven't talked about the job that Sean McDermott's done, but hey, hats off. He's got it. He's got it going. He's got it going.
You wrote a column this week that you're pumping him for possible coach of the year.
Well, it's between Kyle Shanahan and Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh. A lot of great jobs have been held out there. The new guy LaFleur at Green Bay.
Right.
A lot of teams in the NFC. I think Green Bay. I think the San Francisco could make a 9-game jump.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good.
You can't sniff at that.
It's going to be pretty hard to ignore that. But in McDermott's the feather in McDermott's cap is that he took a team with 8 new starters on offense.
Actually, it's 9.
Took a 9, right?
Yeah, Allen and Dawkins are the only 2 guys.
Right. And then defensively, he took a number 2 unit and made it better.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how there wasn't much room to get better, and he managed to do it by really that defensive line. He really. And we got tired of hearing about the importance of all this rotation up front and everything else. And now you got a guy, Jordan Phillips, who you've written about for today. 9.5 sacks.
9.5. I
mean, where does that? That's the kind of stuff that the Bills. That's the kind of stuff that makes a team. That makes a season like this.
That's how you make the jump. That's
because
how
you get guys. You pluck a guy that wanted badly out of Miami, and you get the most out of this guy. That's a credit to Leslie Frazier and McDermott. They took a troubled kid and they getting the most out of him. Shaq Lawson, his career in trouble. Rex Ryan's number 1 pick. They get the most out of him. So it's a great credit to them that they're getting the most out of these players.
You realize that Kyle Williams played 13 years, his best season for sacks. And again, he plays a position that you don't get sacks. He had 10.5 in 2013. That's the only season he's had more than what Jordan Phillips has had right now. Now, they've got 2 guys. Both of those guys are going to be free agents, so we'll get to that at the end of the year. But right now, you're right. They're getting all they can out of those 2 guys, and it'll be very interesting to see which way they go. Because one of their mantras over there with Beane and McDermott has been, we want to draft guys and we want to sign them to their second contract. They don't really want to go out and spend a big bunch of money in free agency on other teams' players. Mm-hmm. They want to draft, develop, and re-sign their own. Well, this is going to be a big test for them because both of those guys are going to command, I would think, some attention in the market.
I don't know
how much are you going to want to pay?
I don't know if they can keep them both.
They might not be able to.
They'll keep one of them, and they got the room. And
they have salary cap space.
And Lorenzo Alexander's future will be up in the air at the end, and I'm hoping he comes back.
Oh, me too. Are you kidding me? He's the go-to guy in the locker room. I'm hoping he comes back too. All right, we're heading to we're going actually to Foxborough, not to Boston. We'll be down there Saturday afternoon. Another national TV game, although it's NFL Network. So not quite national TV. And in Rochester, you have to have NFL Network. Not everyone does. So I know a lot of people are complaining about that. It's because Rochester is the secondary market. The game is actually on the ABC station in Buffalo, Channel 7, but it's not on WHAM 13 here. So you're going to have NFL Network, or get yourself to a bar.
Go to your favorite watering hole.
Yeah,
and
because
be
it's
done
not going
with
to be
it.
on regular TV, but I think Bills fans will find a way to watch the game. It should be a very interesting game. We're looking forward to it, and we will have the coverage from down there in Foxborough.
So, before we leave, we want to give a shout out to
Yes.
Virginia Butler, our producer behind the scenes. She's moving on from
the DNC.
From the DNC, and we want to wish her
Quite
the
possibly
best.
to bigger and better things.
Yeah, and she's put up for us for a couple of years on this crazy show.
She's put
so
up with
thank
Leo
you.
walking into the studio every week at 12:29 for a 12:30 show. So she deserves props.
Thrive on deadlines,
just for
Sal.
that. She is. She's good on deadline. All right. So with that, we're going to wish you a Merry Christmas, because I guess the next time we talk, Christmas will have happened, right?
Yeah, so Merry Christmas.
I have my dates right, correct? So Merry Christmas to all, and let's hope the Bills bring you a victory over those dastardly Patriots. Take care.